Action!
Good evening. Well, it's a lovely sunshiny day and I wanted to do a little bit of an update for you, and it's predicted rain for the next week, so no time like the present. A bit of a smash and grab video as always. I'd love to spend more time getting these organised, but I'm a busy boy. We're a busy team. We've got lots to do. We've got an overlander to deliver, so this will have to suffice. Let me see. I'm going to come down from here a moment. We've campaigned for help and assistance. Can I come down now, please, sir? Thank you very much indeed. We put the feelers out into the van life community to ask who it was that was available, that was any good, and there wasn't anybody. So we've got Neil from Rough and Ready. Thanks, Neil. Right. That bit I was stood on there is good for spare tyres and e-bikes and storage box. That's incomplete. This is its first fit into place, and it is electrically adjusted with a winch that also isn't in place at the moment, but we just kind of wanted to get it up there and into position so you could get an idea of the scale of the thing. It's a bike rack. For all intents and purposes, it's a bike rack. And I, in old money, am 6'2", and I'm actually going to have to put some pretty serious warning stickers and lights and things on it to prevent people clouting themselves with it. There's another part that goes up here to kind of trap things in. Yes. Fingers on lips, you. Riff raff. Bloody hell, you see you're shooting a video. Right, we're outside. I'm only teasing. He is a gob on a stick though, bless him. We're outside. Well, we're not. We're inside outside, right? So we used to be in the workshop, which I'll show you in a minute. And now we're here for a few good reasons. One of which is the aircon unit. I'm kind of all over the place here, but that's all right. I'll tell you, typically me. For anyone who's seen the exposed back on there, really, and nitpicking, there's some capping to go on. So relax, okay. Big aircon unit, so that'll go on there, and then I'll get that working and hoisted into position, and then we can use that to get the aircon on the roof. But it won't, where it was in the workshop, it wouldn't go in the workshop with all its stuff on its new tyres. So we kind of had to get it out of there, and also we needed the workshop space. So I'll show you what's going on in the workshop. Where I'm stood in the workshop at the moment, I wouldn't have been able to stand previously because there were a socking great big truck in the way. So not having the truck in here has freed up space for activities, of which this has got something to do with wood, and this is metal. And the two are taking place in order to get the truck delivered. So to be clear, there's enough ceiling height in here to get solar panels and the roof hatches and the aircon and the various other bits that are on the roof that I'll show you in a mo. I'll give you a tour of the inside, but there's not enough doorway. So if you put all that sort of stuff on, you can't drive it out of here, which is annoying. So I had to move the truck into that space, which is still sheltered. Okay, so it's more open to the elements than the workshop is, but it's still undercover. And then we've got all this space here. So this, to give you an example, is forming part of the underboxes. So this kind of goes on and comes off and goes on and comes off about 14 times a day in order to make sure that things are fitting correctly. This is the back side, that there's the front, and it's upside down. So this is where a wheel goes, that goes towards the fuel tanks, and then that continues the slope at the back. So that cleave, what we call the kick tail at the back of the Overlander, that is the continuation of it. On one side it's going to be a kitchen, on the other side it's a water tank, large storage boxes, space for generator, etc. So that's one. And weirdly, almost identical, but the mirror image of, is the other one, there. So there we are. So it's 25mm box that all gets welded into position, attaches to the underneath of the habitation box. So it's not part of the truck, it's part of the box. So it can't ever collide with the box because it's not attached to the chassis, it's attached to the box and it moves in sympathy with the box. So there we go, so that's a good point. Let's show you background back truck again.
Action.
My man Chris from BSPK Solar has been, and we've got a brand new BMS, we've got a brand new shunt on the truck, and already we're going to swap parts already. So that's the new Lynx shunt from Victron, which has lots of clever features which I'll go into in a completely separate video. So for now, just know that there's even more toys. Even before we've got the toys that we had working, we've swapped them for new ones. Thanks ever so much, Chris from BSPK Solar. He's the boy. And he's kind enough to drop off some of this sexy blue trunking. So my Victron install will look tidy. I've said previously that any of the interfaces on the outside of the trucks, like inputs, outputs, drain-off points, anything like that, have got to be metal, not plastic. So that they don't brittle in the cold. So I've hit upon these. This is for the drinking water outlet and also for the hot wash down. So you can either have an external shower or you can actually use the water on board the truck to wash down the truck and solar panels and so forth. So that will be permanently fixed to the side of the truck. And that is what you interface with. So you have a hose or whatever on the end of there and the water's not flowing until you do that, and you can put a tap on the end of this or whatever. And we've got some blue ones for drinking water and we've got some black ones for hot wash down, so that you don't cross-contaminate things, because shower water and drinking water are separate entities on here. More on that at a later date. There we go, I just thought I'd show you that. Just thought that was a nice little feature. Let's go back around the truck then.
Action.
So where we had those metal boxes, just if you imagine it's coming down here, and we've got space for the rear lights. It's coming down here and then over this wheel. So the hot wash and cold drinking water output will be in the triangle over the top of this wheel. And there's two water ins. There's a water in via this that you've seen a great many times already now, the filtration, or there is an in simply into the water tanks. If you feel you can trust the water supply, then just fill them up and it will be more rapid, and it means you're not running water through your filtration unnecessarily. That's now been partnered with a little box, a little hatch here, which goes nowhere at the moment. I've not put any of the stuff that needs going in there in. That won't always look like that. That's going to be an electrical box, and primarily that's going to be the fuses that cover the external stuff. So if you pop a fuse for the winch cables, for example, you're not having to clamber aboard to then get something replaced. It's external, you can get to it through there, it's locked, no one can tamper with it, but it just means you can solve problems for the exterior lighting, all that sort of caper, without having to get aboard the internal fusing and then do the internal stuff.
Okay.
So bear in mind, this is going to be behind the boxing. It comes in up tight here, so you won't ever really see this stuff, but that's been sealed in nicely. So that's cabling that goes to a variety of different points. The very front of the truck, all the cabling's pulled to there now, and this will be what goes to an isolator on the side of the truck, on the driving side of the truck, this is a left-hand drive vehicle, so it'll go over there, and that's a strike isolator. So if there's a problem with the winch, you don't have to be between the winch and whatever you're winching. There's one on the front, one on the back, and you'll just strike that. But you can't really tell here, but all this cable is tinned. Any exterior cable I ever use is always of the marine grade. And that's not just to be fancy and say, it's marine grade, mate, it's proper stuff. The truth of the matter is, it's tinned, which means if it does come in contact with water, it's not going to corrode and green and whatnot like copper usually likes to do. So that's why I use it.
Action.
So fuel tank, as we've mentioned previously, we've got fuel tank related stuff. Then here goes that 5 kilowatt generator, neatly pops into the frame here, and then the exhaust and whatnot sits in underneath it. That's all Top Gun's department, he's sorting that. And that stuff that we just talked about for the other side starts here. So here I'm going to have the battery for the generator, which is a 12 volt AGM Victron battery, and then we're going to have the starter battery for the truck, which is trick in itself. So I'll chat you through that at a later date, but there's not really. A few more cables emerge, again all in protection. Everything's in protection, everything is, you know, it's not going to wear through over the course of time and then start causing me problems. And cosmetically, if you do spot anything under the truck, you just spot an other, you know, black glanded cable, like, I'm going to have to drop in a photograph here because I'm not going to be able to show you, but everything that's on the underneath of the truck, any of the ingress points, are really well coated and covered over. So I have got some pictures of that, and I'll give you a picture of that, and it's not much fun to look at, but just know that no amount of dirt, muck and rain can find its way into the box because it's all nicely sealed in. It's a little bit dark in here, so where to start? I can't remember what it looked like last time, but we've got kitchen cupboards in. That fridge, that Vitrafrigo fridge, which is a fridge freezer actually, and is a very, very nice piece of equipment, is supposed to be in that position there. And I promised the client that before I started recording again, it'd be sat in position. But lo and behold, I've still got stuff to do up here. This is a main means of isolating a lot of the AC devices, and I access a lot of stuff through the hole where the fridge goes. And I've not quite finished it, have I? So unfortunately, it looks like this. But anywho, sink, worktop, hob. Can I just say, this design here is kind of inspired because a lot of people put the hob this way round, horizontal as opposed to portrait, right in the middle of things, and you can't put a coffee cup in the front, and you can't put... So without knowing, so the client came up with this design, without having been in one of these previously, they came up with an A1 kicking design. I had nothing to do with that sort of thing, so clearly somebody's thought about things there, as people normally don't. They think, oh, what would look nice on Instagram, and then operationally it doesn't really work very well. Those ladders are not a permanent fixture. They allow us to pop up on the roof at this moment in time while we're still getting things in. So there is a roof light to go in there, a Motorcraft one, which will, as soon as we've finished popping up on the roof, solar panels, etc. We can't get the solar panels through that gap, by the way, but it's a damn sight easier to have somebody on the roof, e.g. Neil, and me passing solar panels up to him, than it is to you know, try and scale the outside of the vehicle on your onesie. Max Air fan number 1. Max Air fan number 2 is in the bathroom. This is where the aircon for here goes, and then one of the Motorcraft before mentioned hatches, albeit a much smaller one, just there. Bathroom wise, so we put this floor down and checked everything fitted and whatnot, and I'm almost done here. We are now having a recirculating shower. It was on the cards. I wasn't sure that I could promise it and get the operation that I wanted. I've subsequently fitted what I want to use for the recirculating shower, and it's a recirculating shower with a twist. If you've picked up the vibe from me previously, I don't like the recirculating showers where you're just using the same water over and over and over and over again. I know that kind of hints as to what recirculating means, but with the water system that's on here, you're always going to be taking from that tank, you're always going to be adding more, and you can have regular showers or recirculate, or midway through a shower, once you've got all your muck and rubble off you, or you've dyed your hair or shaved your legs or done any of the other things that you do not want the filters to have to deal with, you can engage the recirculation without having to leave the shower from a simple button press. So it works, and so now I can say with confidence. So I'm saying with confidence. I've put it on the internet, and if it's on the internet, you know it's true. So said Abraham Lincoln, let us not forget. So that's a new edition, an old edition, something that I said, I wavered, I wobbled a bit as to whether I could deliver it or not in a big fat can, so I'm very happy. There's a bit of difference between me doing stuff for me and me doing stuff for a client on a project like this, so it's had to have been extensively tested. The Victron wall hasn't budged. It will next week. That's my job for this next week. Towards the end of this week, I will have done plumbing, and I can't tell you how happy I am to have got to that point, because I hate plumbing. It's just so many, everything's just so many bloody bits. Like this here. This is what you use for controlling the temperature of the external hot water. So I've got to have this in a place where you can just get to it so you can adjust it how you want it. And it's a robust bit of kit, and it should last the lifetime of the truck, so I should never have to do it again. But there's just so many parts. There's that bit and that bit and that bit and the other bit and all these other bits, and then you add it to that bit and then that bit, and it gets complicated. That's nearly finished. Don't know whether you can even see that or not. It's a bit dark in here, the sun's setting. But that'll all be finished, then the fridge can go in, then I can crack on with this wall, and then finally the hot box. Well, no, not finally the hot box, because then I've got the cab, but now all the wiring first fix is in the cab, so we can upholster the cab, and then I can go back in and start putting all the gadgets in, and you'll love the gadgets. Oh, blimey, crikey Moses. Is there anything else that I think I should update you on whilst I've got you? No. That's it for the moment. There's plenty around here, but that'll do for now. That'll do. Thanks ever so much for watching. Cheerio. Bye-bye.